Feeling inspired by hosts Ron and Tyler? This episode of the Movie Buffs podcast is brought to you by the YouTube workout channel Time to Train Fitness. With all things YouTube, it's free. Jump into a bar class, crank out a cycling workout, or pump out a strength session. Everything you need to work out for free at home. Check out the description and subscribe today.
Welcome back to another episode in the Movie Buffs podcast. This is a rankings episode. My name is Tyler, and I have three shows that came out relatively recently in terms of when this episode in the podcast was released, and a little bit of background with these episodes. Really, these are about trying to give you options to binge watch, to go watch if you're looking for something and you've kind of exhausted your options, or maybe you're on your sixth round of rewatching The Sopranos or Breaking Bad, and you're like, I really want to watch something new. This is an episode for you to tune in for, listen to, and hopefully you have the streaming service already part of your repertoire. So, of course, these are spoiler-free. I'm going to talk a little bit about the shows, characters, already what's out there, give a pretty bland review, but rank these in terms of what I enjoyed, what I think is watchable. And of course, there's going to be listeners out there that don't agree with me. That's fine. This isn't meant to really be one of those, oh, I agree with you on this, or that was awful, don't watch it. It's just an idea for people. And as we always joke in the regular episodes that we have in the Movie Buffs podcast, I tend to like a lot of different shows, movies, and I like things that some people don't like. A lot of things that have to do with Star Wars. So let's kind of I'm going to give a couple honorable mentions that didn't quite make this episode. So National Treasure on Disney Plus, Pitch Perfect, Bumper in Berlin, and then also Treason. The last one, I actually did a instant reaction that you can check out on our podcast offerings. It's a relatively new series that dropped on Netflix. It's I'm already drawing a blank. I think it's 5 episodes, all around an hour long, but a lot of actors that you've seen in maybe Game of Thrones and Marvel movies. And then the other ones, National Treasure, Pitch Perfect. I can't really throw those in with the ones that we're talking about. When we talk about American Gigolo, Welcome to Chipdales, I didn't think National Treasure really fit in there when talking about those ones. So honorable mentions, I watched those ones, and would I put any of those ahead of the 3 in this? I put Treason in there above maybe 2 of them, at least 1 of them for sure. But the other ones, they're just something to watch, in my opinion, just to put on. I know that my wife enjoyed National Treasure more. I enjoyed the movies more than the show that's on right now. It's a little too cheesy right now for me, but it's watchable if you like that kind of stuff. So let's kick it off. Number 3 in my rankings, and I didn't already say this, but the 3 shows that I'll be talking about: American Gigolo on Showtime, Welcome to Chippendales on Hulu, and then the last one, and this was the one that kind of helped me put this together, Jack Ryan, season 3 on Amazon Prime. So 3 different services there. Number 3 in this rankings is American Gigolo. Now, I really feel like this one didn't get much publicity out there, didn't get much marketing, didn't really see too many commercials for it. Maybe it's because of the topic. You're probably not going to see American Gigolo being marketed on bus stops, primetime television, because we're talking about gigolos, prostitutes, male prostitutes. But in terms of the quality of it, I think it's watchable. I mean, I like to see John Barenthal in things longer than 10 minutes. That's a joke that we've talked about in other episodes of the podcast, how he's never really in something for longer than 10 minutes or gets killed off super quickly. And with him, I mean, do I think he's the best actor? No, I think he's interesting. I think I like him as the Punisher, where he's not talking that often. I hope that character comes back with Disney Plus, but it was nice to see him in a series. I'd read some of the reviews prior with some people, some critics, uncertain if he could play this character. So this is a remake of a movie from 1980 of the same name. and it had Richard Gere in it as the main character. But this one, it's a remake, but not fully. The original movie from 1980, it kind of reminds me of Drive. If you've seen Drive with Ryan Gosling, with some of the elements, some of the topics from American Gigolos, but it's very Nicholas Winding Refn. I might not be saying his name correct because I'm not the biggest fan of that director. It's not really my taste. I'm not really into those types of movies where you just have this character just kind of brooding around the whole time, not really talking. But I know I have friends that really do like his movies that'll criticize me, think that I just like things that blow up. Yeah, that's fine. But those aren't really my types of movies. And this show didn't really follow that. When we watched the movie, my wife and I, we watched the movie because it's on Showtime, I think. I might be mistaken. Actually, it might be on Amazon Prime. But the movie, I just kept laughing, thinking like somebody wrote this and it makes no sense at some points. And I remember how I've heard about Hollywood being an old boys club, hard to break in at certain points. And like even when I see like some movies and they're written by a male and they shouldn't be, in my opinion. Some of them, it's like, really? There's not other people that could write these types of movies. And this one, it just at some points made no sense. And I'm going too off topic here talking about the movie when I should be talking about the series. But with the series, the kind of the quick synopsis of it is the main character, Julian Kay, he gets exonerated for the death of a woman about 15 years ago. And the series kind of follows him trying to integrate back into society. But at the same time, it kind of comes up, we might be able to find out who actually killed this woman, who framed you for it. And there's other elements in there from his old life that get pulled into the series. So as of today, there's no cancellations yet. They haven't announced a season 2. Do I think it warrants a season 2? Probably not. That's kind of bad to say with this episode, but I don't think it really does. I think it does have a 37% on Rotten Tomatoes. Oh, is it a 37? Maybe it is. It might honestly be. I think when I wrote the outline for this show, I was like, it's maybe not a 37, but the last episode of it, it was just so out of there. And it's like, wait, this is the last episode? Like, you don't really want to tie up some of the loose ends there? Okay, we'll see. We'll see what goes on here. But should you watch it? I'd throw it on if you have something to say. And that's why it's number 3 in these rankings. American Gigolo, John Barenthal. If you like the actor, you'll probably enjoy it. If you like the topic, if you don't mind seeing some nude elements in there, you might like it. But really, it's almost a bland prime or premium television show, in my opinion. A quick promo break here in this episode. If you've been a fan of our podcast, you've probably already heard me, Tyler, one of your hosts, talk about the Naboso insoles. If you are ever wondering about, what are insoles? How do they help my feet? Are they really useful? I got to tell you that I've been wearing these Duo insoles for probably a year and a half now, and I think they're game changers. If you sit at a desk, if you are on your feet, so basically anybody, for anybody in the world, they can really help with your health. If you ever have foot pain or if you have any type of issues with your feet, these can be a game changer for you. Hopefully you take my word on it. You head to the link in the description, you buy yourself a pair, and you come back and you share it that, I actually bought those insoles and they actually do work. That'd be something that we'd love to hear, love to see, because that means that you're working on your health. That's it for the promo break. Let's get back to the episode. Number 2 here. And we're moving down in terms of moving up in terms of what shows I think rank best of these 3. And kind of in the same area here. I'm going to put Welcome to Chippendales. And this one was kind of hard for me to decide again. In these rankings, I think it's good when the top 2, they're hard for me to decide between. Did I enjoy watching Welcome to Chippendales? Yeah, I thought it was great. It was entertaining. It kind of reminded me of the other Hulu show along the same lines, Tommy and Pam. And with it is R-rated. There are some scenes that probably you don't want to watch with your family if they're a little old school. They probably wouldn't enjoy some of the scenes in there, but it does give you some good background on the characters. I think that was where it was pretty strong. Like you get the motivation behind the main character, and I like seeing Kumail Nanjiani. If you like him as a comedian, you might enjoy seeing him in something. So you get his character's background, you get why he does certain things, why he wants to be an entrepreneur, why he works so hard to start his own business, all these things. You get all those elements in it with also mixing in Chippendales. That kind of sounds kind of funny when I say it out loud, but you get elements of both of those. So it's an entertaining show. I think the drawback of it really is the end episode. It really has this like, whoa, like intense climax in it and scenes with it. But then the last episode just kind of puts you to sleep. That's my opinion on it. But other than that, it was very fascinating to see some of this. I mean, most likely if you've been to Las Vegas, you know what Chippendales is. There's probably, you've seen jokes about it, Saturday Night Live, in other areas. Maybe your wife or your significant other went to a Chippendales show in Vegas. So I would watch it if you don't mind those things. If you don't mind nudity, if you don't mind those types of topics, watch it. You don't mind drugs being in a show, watch it. If you like Kumail, watch it. And if you even like shows about entrepreneurs, watch it. So put it on your list. Hulu, if you have an ad-free Hulu, makes it even better. That's always my negative watching shows. And we do pay for Hulu, but it's connected to our Spotify account. And that's always my drawback when we're watching things on Hulu, is having to watch commercials. I can't stand it. And it makes me always want to turn it off. So that leaves now the top spot here. And the top one, Jack Ryan, season 3. I have to start it by saying every single time that we finish watching a season of Jack Ryan, I always say to myself, this series is better than give it credit. It's good, but I feel like I don't give it enough credit because maybe you didn't hear about it enough. I feel like they don't promote it enough. I feel like that's almost all Amazon Prime shows, is that you know that some of them are good, and that's maybe why I think that maybe 50% of Amazon Prime shows are actually watchable. Some of them are just hard to watch, or some of them I'm not even going to waste my time on them. And Jack Ryan is one of those that every time I finish it or we finish it, I'm just like, man, that was good. And we always take even a little bit to watch the series. Like, we don't watch it like right when it premieres. It would be like a week or two until we actually watch it. And it always surprises me with how good it is, how quickly it gets into the action. I remember, maybe this has to do with it too. I remember watching the reboot attempt with Chris Pine. And it's honestly just like every Kenneth Branagh film, that it's just blah. And you're just like, man, this looks so good. The trailer looks so good. And you sold me on the trailer, but then this whole movie just is no bueno. And this series with John Krasinski is well acted. It's entertaining. I mean, the action scenes are action scenes. The ability to see that combination of intellect with action is really good. I mean, there's a couple jokes in there that the story I'm going to tell. I think it's funny because my wife and I looked at each other at the same time, that there's a scene with John Krasinski. And I mean, he was just Mr. Fantastic for a split second in Doctor Strange. And then there's a scene in there, and this is not giving anything away, where you'd expect an action star to be running. He's running, and you're just like, man, wasn't he up for like Captain America? Like, that's not a Captain America body right there. So small joke there that John Krasinski maybe should have hit the gym a little bit, or maybe took some lessons from Uncle TC with running through the streets. But the series in general. So this one, season 3, this one follows Jack trying to unfoil an attempt by Russia to trigger a worldwide war with the Western powers. And that's one of the things I actually like about this series, is that each season is based in a new region. It's not picking up the same exact story in the same exact region. It kind of stays I don't say it's relevant to what's going on now, but at least it moves around. Like you're not in the same places. It's almost like what they wanted to do with, I'm trying to blank here with the director. It's Mendes with the James Bond films. And when he filmed back to back, that they wanted to go in new places that just were appealing, were just like stunning on film, but yet the story kind of wasn't that good. And you might go into cool places, but if it doesn't all connect, it doesn't work. In this one, it connects and it works. You see great scenes, great landscapes, but it all comes together. It's all part of the story. And I didn't feel like, despite them being in different regions, that it didn't fall apart at all. I think that this one with it, I think it might have in the commercial for it that Jack has to kind of go rogue on it. And is that an outplayed story? Well, I'm talking out loud here. I'm just thinking out loud here. Is it an outplayed story? Maybe if you watch a lot of movies like me, because of right off the bat there, I thought of Mission Impossible. And that's one of the jokes that I think Ron always makes with talking about Mission Impossible. Oh, they got to go rogue now. Or Tom Cruise has to go rogue. But with this one, it's just fascinating, I think, to see maybe John Krasinski in it. I never watched The Office. Do I like him as an actor? Yeah. I think and this might sound bad though, I feel like Quiet Place might be some of the first times I saw him on screen. Because again, I never watched The Office. I don't know what else he's really been in because I'm not too familiar with him, but I like what he does. Do I want to see him as Mr. Fantastic in future stuff? Yeah. Because I think he's great. I think he's a solid actor. So I think this series is part of that. I think this series kind of hooked him for me personally as somebody that I'd like to see in more things. So that is my top spot, is Jack Ryan season 3. I think it's a must. Can I say must watch? Yeah. I'll say it's a must watch, especially if you have already Amazon Prime. If you, like most people in this world, have Amazon Prime for free, that you already have access to this streaming platform. And it's something that you can watch, you can enjoy. There's 3 seasons. And most people that I've talked to that have watched it, that they're hooked too. Well, I know that one of our listeners, he's already hooked on it. He likes it. He enjoys it. And you might actually get turned on to some of the other things that are on there. I know that, talking out loud here again, that there's Hunters that we're about to finish ourselves. And I'm thinking about putting that in another rankings video. I'm trying to think of what else I can throw in there, but there'll be some other shows that hopefully I can throw in with another rankings episode with Amazon Prime's, another Amazon Prime series. So check out Jack Ryan, check out Welcome to Chippendales. Maybe if you feel desperate to watch something, watch American Gigolos. This has been it for another rankings episode in the Movie Buffs podcast. Hopefully you enjoy it. Hopefully it gives you something to watch. Check out, come back, let me know what you think. Tag us. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and I will see you in the next one.